Let's start this video out looking at a wild Saudi Arabian wolf that's being taken care of at a shelter, and we got a chance to go in and actually touch it. It gave us a couple little snips, but not too bad.
Hello, John.
Oh, I know you too. I know you too. I get him going, and he tries to calm down.
You get home, he'd be like, man, fuck friend, I ain't going over there anymore.
All right, welcome back. We are in Saudi, so hello from Saudi. We're going to talk about an important part of contracting in the Middle East. A lot of the videos that on this channel we've discussed medical situations such as what you're going to be required to do as far as a physical before you come out. Also, we talk about the training that happens in CRC, your contractor training. Well, for this video, we're going to discuss specifically the situation that you'll deal with in the Middle East with heat. Okay, because it is a significant factor that you need to know about, and it's something that we should cover because it's going to be part of your life working in the Middle East. So just stay with us, and we'll be right back. After years of military contracting overseas, and I'm getting ready to retire, I thought I would pass on the information that I learned over years of working abroad to inspire others to reach out, check out the world, see the jobs that are overseas, and learn something about yourself. Right. So we're going to start out with what the reality is of dealing with heat right now here in Saudi Arabia. Riyadh area, I will tell you, is some of the hottest temperatures that I've had to deal with working in the Middle East. There were definitely times in Afghanistan that were extremely hot, very dry heat temperatures. However, much of the time that I spent in Afghanistan was in a higher mountainous area near the Pakistani border. And for that reason, even though there was a time of the year that was very hot, it was sort of like Colorado weather where it was hot, but it was never unbearable. And actually we had very cold winters with snow. So that was kind of a unique situation working there in Afghanistan. But working in Kuwait and many of the other countries that I've worked around, the heat is a definite part of your life. And here in Saudi Arabia, especially the time frame that I'm making these videos right now, which is the July-August time frame, we're looking at 120 degree Fahrenheit days. You know, that's like 47, 50 on the Celsius. Just outrageously hot, very dry like an oven, no humidity. And you need to be able to deal with that level of heat depending upon where you're going to get a contract in the Middle East. We will talk about the signs and issues that you'll deal with, what you're going to deal with as far as the heat, and then we're going to talk about things that you can do, okay, to prepare yourself and then also to be able to deal with the heat here in Afghanistan or here in Saudi Arabia, okay, or wherever you get stationed. Whether it be Kuwait, Bahrain, Iraq still has a lot of good contracting work. The symptoms and signs that you go through, that you deal with, first and foremost, you're going to deal with heat rash. Okay, it's going to be like your first issues you're going to be dealing with is heat rash, and I tend to get that armpits, groin. You'll get that neck area, behind the ears. These are areas where you'll start to find yourself with heat rash issues. Your back and your chest area as well, you can get heat rash. And for something like that, once you start getting that, that's when you need to start having the looser clothing, layered clothing, loose, so that you have a covering from the sun, but also so that air, it can be breathable on the inside. Some people say they like to put powders like talcum powders and things like that in their groin area, under their armpits. There's pros and cons to using powders. The pros is, as long as you're not sweating, the powders work pretty good. They can help you feel a little bit cooler. Once you start sweating, if you're working and you're sweating as well, sometimes those powders can turn almost abrasive, and that's when you need to, basically get out of that situation and get a shower and cool off your body and get all that stuff off. I will tell you what works for me. That's what these videos are about. I've been working out here in the Middle East for years, and I will tell you, instead of powders, so first of all, I might use a powder at the end of the day after I shower and cool off. Then, after I'm dry, I might like to use a powder in the evenings. But while I'm outdoors, what I have found, and I've used for years, is antibiotic ointment. I take a little bit of antibiotic ointment, all right, and I will put it in my armpit area right here and right here, some behind my ears, just a very thin coat, and I might put some on my neck, just a little thin coat, all right, and then I will take a little bit on each of my fingers here, and right in the groin area where everything is kind of rubbing, I'll put some right there on my inner thighs. That antibiotic ointment, it stands up to heat. It prevents heat rash and rubbing rashes. And I found that I can go much longer. And it works better for me than using powders. I've used it hiking as well. I've used it for many years traveling to Thailand, where it is extremely hot and extremely humid. So in high heat, high humidity environments like Thailand, and high heat, dry environments like the Middle East, that technique has worked for me. Okay? Let's move on to the next. That's going to be sunburn. Sunburn is the next level you're going to deal with. For sunburn, the easiest is, instead of all these bizarre creams and blocks and stuff, the most important is to keep your skin covered while you're working in an outdoor environment. Wrapping your neck, long sleeve, loose long sleeve shirts. I will tell you a shirt that works great if you're a contractor. They may issue something like this, but they may not. But there are shirts that are almost like a mesh material that are designed for being worn by folks that are working in roadway construction. They don't have to be bright orange, but they make them bright orange for roadway construction people. But they make them different colors. And it's sort of a mesh where the wind blows right through them. Super lightweight, but they come down and block the sun completely. They work fantastic. And depending upon if your company will let you wear something like that outdoors, you got to find out, will they already issue you something like that? Will they issue you long sleeve, lightweight material t-shirts, like almost like athletic material t-shirts that wick moisture? Find out what they're going to issue you first. But I found those to work very well, and they're very cheap. You can buy them very cheap. Buy them whatever color you need, khaki colored, olive drab green, navy blue, whatever it is that you need to get. A sun cap of some kind, ball cap with a nice brim that's going to be out so that you can see what you're doing. Sunglasses, very important. And then I like to use a nice stick, and a stick is what I'll put around my ears, okay, here, over the nose, right here, okay, so both of the cheekbones and over the nose, and I found that works very well. The stick, ball cap, a very lightweight scarf, like the one that's back here, very lightweight scarf, and cover long sleeves, as lightweight a shirt as possible, whatever you'll be allowed to wear, as light as possible. And that will keep the sun off of you, especially if you're working day after day. Don't get started working without that, because by 11 o'clock already, and you're like, oh, it's starting to get hot out, too late, you're already burned. You're burned, all right? Then you get burn on top of burn, you're going to end up with second-degree burns, and you're going to be out of there, okay? They're going to start maybe moving you out of the country if you get so badly burned, okay? Take care of your skin. Go to work in the morning before the sun comes up, already dressed for the sun, ready to go. The next thing that you're going to deal with after sunburn is going to be heat cramps. Heat cramps, at that point, when you start getting those heat cramps, you need to get out of the sun entirely. You got to get out. At that point, your body is starting to shut down. You are dealing with your body telling you, I have extreme problems. This is not just a hydration issue, it's an electrolyte issue. Okay? I'm going to pause for a moment, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to go grab something because I want to show you what I use. All right? Welcome back. So we are back talking about cramps, heat cramps. Okay? This is what I like to use. These are these little sugar-free Propel packets that you put in water bottles. Very inexpensive. You buy these either at the exchange on base, or you can buy these in other forms. They might come in a squirt bottle, liquid squirt bottle type thing. This is also available through Amazon. You can buy it in bulk and save yourself a lot of money. But these have electrolytes and to help prevent those cramps. Again, don't wait until you already start having those cramps. You need to already be drinking this throughout the morning, going into the sun part of the day. I just mix them up with these right here. Okay. Because that's a large container, I'll fill that with water and I'll put 2 packets in there. And then throughout the day, I'm putting more water in there, mixing up more packets if I need it. Generally, if I'm working, 1 or 2 of those in the morning get me through to lunch. It depends. If you have bottles of water, you just open it up, take a couple swigs, so you got a little room in there. Put 1 of these packets in there, all right, and you will end up with what you need. Put the top on, shake it, you're good. They taste fine too. There's nothing wrong with them. This is what I was showing you before with the stick for my nose and cheekbones. Creams, which I generally do not use much of creams, but I do find that some of these brands, this one is Mary Kay. You can buy Neutrogena, some of those brands. You can use them every single day without any issues. But I will tell you something like that, if you're not wearing gloves, you put that on top of your hands, you do not realize over time how, if you have a long sleeve shirt, how burned up your hands will get over time working outdoors. So you need it's something good to have, and that will last you a long time. Lightweight ball caps made out of athletic materials, not heavy ball caps, as light a ball cap as possible. If it's a ball cap that's half mesh, if it's a ball cap that's almost all mesh, even better. You're just trying to knock back the sun. If you got air breathability there with a mesh ball cap, even better. Okay. And that will help deal with those heat cramps. At that point with heat cramps, you have not been keeping up with your electrolytes. Your body's losing salts and electrolytes, and you are going into cramping situation. You got to get out of that situation and start to get into a recovery. Don't continue to push forward. Okay. The next that you will deal with is what's called heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion is going to start, basically, your body is going to start going through nausea, loss of breath, dizziness. Okay. You're going to have the previous issues. You may have rash, you may have some sunburn, you may have some cramping. That's why it said it goes up through this sort of course, okay? But at that heat exhaustion point, that's when you need to remove yourself from the sun, take in electrolytes, and you need to start cooling your body down. Getting into a shady area is a temporary situation to start dealing with heat exhaustion. However, you ultimately need to get into an air-conditioned environment and start cooling down the body, okay? One of the things they say in the military is they say You cool down to shivering and you re-warm to sweating, okay? But if you start dealing with heat exhaustion, then you start having your neurological symptoms, the dizziness, the blurred vision. You can't track what you're doing anymore. You can't, mentally think about what it is you're trying to do. You start making mistakes. That's all part of heat exhaustion, okay? And then you have the initial heat crampings as well. And it's a bad situation. It's a very bad place to be. If not dealt with at that point, you can get to the part where you start dealing with heat stroke, okay? And we'll go through some heat stroke symptoms that you may experience. Heat stroke, that's when you start getting the hot, red, dry, and damp skin. The reason being that your body is no longer even functioning in the cooling process properly anymore. You're not going through that cooling process properly. Your body is confused. Okay, so instead of sweating properly, it doesn't even know what to do anymore. All right, high body temperatures, very high, dealing with, you're basically cooking your inside of your body, okay? And your body doesn't know how to start cooling down. Your heartbeat starts going rapid, all right? And you start to cascade through the heat exhaustion symptoms of dizziness, nausea. You might have cramps, and you might have the confusion that we talked about with heat exhaustion too, that you're not able to track what you're doing anymore. And you're starting to see at the heat stroke level, your body is shutting down, okay? Losing consciousness being the most serious, where other coworkers find you in a situation, all right? At that point, you need to be removed from a heat into an air-conditioned environment. Maybe even you need to be started to get cooled down with cold packs. The cold packs will be put in your groin area, under your armpits, and in the neck area, so that you start to cool the blood that's going up to the brain. Okay, chest area, neck area, putting cool packs there. Getting into an air-conditioned environment and start rapidly cooling that body down. You definitely need to, because you're trying to save the person's life at that point. All right. That gives you a little breakdown of the different stages of how your body is reacting to heavy heat. All right, and what to do in those emergency situations. All right, what you can deal with, and then what to do. The next part of this video, we're going to talk about ways to not just protect yourself from those symptoms, but also just some other ideas that I've used over time. Okay? All right, there's 3 sort of tips that I use because I work in an outdoor environment often, where I am repairing equipment, driving out to places, then repairing equipment, whether it be camera equipment, things that are outside. It could be other types of IT gear that's in a hot environment. But usually it's some sort of a sensor or some sort of a camera device that goes back to that network equipment, and you need to go replace it, which could take you an hour. You need to maybe clean it, which might take you half an hour each to clean the interior of its like protective housing, but you might have 12 that you have to do that day. So that's at least 6-8 hours more that you're spending outdoors cleaning this camera equipment, the interior of the housing, doing preventative maintenance on it. Some of the tips that I do is I time what I need to do, so I'm spending the most time possible going out, doing the job effectively, and staging everything in my vehicle. So here on this contract in particular, just talking about this contract, I have a vehicle that I can use. I make sure it's gassed up completely. I make sure I have a cooler in there with drinks, cold drinks, not just drinks, but I have some ice in there. Just all you do is on the way that morning, stop, pick up some ice. You might have on base the ability to get ice, or you may have to stop at a gas station along the way. So I make sure I'm full on gas. I get myself some ice from my cooler, and I get some drinks, okay? the drinks, I would avoid caffeine drinks. In the morning, drink your cup of coffee, and that's it. Don't do energy drinks through the day. In this heat, you're going to start rapidly seeing the onset of these issues of cramping and heat exhaustion and heat stroke. That caffeine does not make things any better. Okay, caffeine will often cause the capillaries to just come closer to the skin. You'll get sort of sunburned easier. Your body does not regulate heat very well. Rapid heartbeat. None of these things are what you want to deal with. You want to just be taking in electrolytes and liquids. If anything, get yourself some sort of a flavored, sugar-free, caffeine-free drinks or something like that you can drink. But I set everything up in my vehicle, so I spend the most amount of my time in my vehicle staging what I need to do in the air-conditioned environment. I look where I need to go, and out I go. I go out, I go up to that device, I start working on it, and then as soon as I'm done, or if there's a problem, I'll get out of it and go back to my vehicle, or as soon as I'm done and it's sealed up, go back to my vehicle and start cooling down. That way I'm not out in the sun, out in the heat, messing with a toolbox, messing with a cardboard box full of equipment, looking for stuff. Do all that in your vehicle. So that's 2 tips: is stage in your vehicle, make sure your vehicle has got the air conditioner blasting and you have everything you need in there. 2, limit the caffeine. Okay, limit the caffeine. And those 2 definitely have helped me a lot. And then the other that I talked about earlier in the video were the loose clothing that I wear, long sleeve loose clothings, ball caps and scarves and things. That definitely helps me get through my work day. Before you come out, you want to condition yourself as much as you can to a hot environment. I'm not sure where you might be living right now, but exercising in sweat clothes will help a lot. Don't overdo it. If you're a runner and you start to run in sweat clothes, you need to be careful. All right. My suggestion would be, if it's possible and you're doing a track or something, do a few loops with sweat clothing, take it off, complete the rest of your training without the sweat clothing. You're trying to condition your body, but you don't want to get yourself injured. All right. Start to, if you can, wear your long sleeve, wear your ball cap, wear some sort of a scarf, throw on a backpack with whatever you want in there, bottles of water, make it semi-heavy, and go do a nice walk with that. Do some hiking with that, do some walking with that. You can always throw it all in the laundry and wash it. All right. If it gets all sweaty, that's okay. If you have heavy contractor pants, wear that. But I would wear your correct shoes so you don't hurt your feet. Okay. But you want to maybe start training and exercising a little, wearing what you're going to be wearing in country. Like I said, it's going to get sweaty, it's going to get messed up. Just wash it. You're starting to condition your body for what you're going to be dealing with in country. All right. So we talked about, first of all, the different stages of what you will deal with the heat in country. Then we talked about some ideas, some extra tips, because we went through not only the symptoms but what to do in case of those symptoms. Then we also talked about prepping properly, limiting the caffeine, and we ended up discussing how to start conditioning yourself before you come out for these heat situations, so it doesn't hit you that hard, so your body's already starting to acclimatize to a higher heat environment that you can do before you leave, before you come out. All right. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope it's been informative, giving you a better idea of what you'll be dealing with in a Middle East contract. If you contract in Europe or Eastern Europe, much better temperatures out there. Asia, it changes. Japan is wonderful, but at the same time, depending upon where in Asia you are, you will deal with very high heat and high humidity. Just keep that in mind. And other than that, thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to add, any experiences you had, and anything you want to talk about with others, what you dealt with the heat situations. And have a nice day.